Now, to taking away a red light, I'm up on that end. So just me thinking and looking and seeing all day long, you might want to put a meter up there, because that's the only red light to slow them down until they get down here. And I see people come down Main Street 35, 40 mile an hour all day long. I'm used to it. I live down there. But you get these out of towners, I've seen people walk dead out and ain't nothing to slow them down. So if you take away that red light there, you're talking all the way from the video store until they get down here, them people ain't gonna drop below 35, 40 mile an hour.
Yeah, from Calhoun to College. Yeah.
Coming, you know. So it's not, I mean, that's, you know, there's a safety deal there.
It may not work.
You know.
And I tell you, the other thing we could do is we could basically put the signals that are up there on test signal. We could put some temporary stop signs out and we can evaluate it. I mean, that's another approach too, just to see does it work.
I just have a question about the trees. What type trees are you thinking of?
Well, I mean, there could be two different approaches here. I mean, we've got ally elms. You know, they're across from Memorial Park on Main Street, that 1000 block, and then you've got them here on Boyce. Well, and you've got a couple up towards the Mauer building. You can go with ally elms, and they work pretty good because the root pattern doesn't push the sidewalks up. They get vertical pretty quick, and they don't block the business signs. Or you can go with different types of trees, and you can have a mix of different types. And I think a landscape architect would probably tell you that's not a bad thing, because you know, the trees would be more disease tolerant. I mean, you know, you wouldn't have like this blight that wiped out all your trees. And I guess they might tell you too that, you know, it could produce different types of color during the fall, and they're gonna have different textures. So I mean, there's two different approaches there. Yeah. But I can tell you those elms have worked, and so if we go with different types of trees, maybe elms are just one of the types that can be used.
Can I, forgive me, but this all, we have a cute little downtown that probably is better than the support of a 10,000 people town can give. I know Clark yesterday said some percentage of his business comes from out of town. I think a big percentage of our business comes from out of town. The thing we need most is people. We need people coming, we need customers. And we need, for me, we need a marketing plan of how to market ourselves, because we are a tourist town at this moment. Whether or not we're a successful tourist town, but most of our businesses do need outsiders. There aren't enough Newberians to support all of us. And to me, this is a lot of money that a really strong marketing. I know when the college did their festival, their theater festival, the town was filled. There were people eating, you couldn't get a seat. I know when we bring buses down, it's almost more than sometimes the restaurants can do. But that's exactly what we need to do. We need to fill we need to fill people on the streets, and somehow I think the key would be to find a marketing plan that would bring in, and marketing plans aren't cheap, and I hear the money you're talking about, but something, I mean, at 10 o'clock I've got a meeting with an Elvis festival that wants to come down for 3 days. I mean, those are the kind of things that I think will bring people, but not enough. We need festivals that will draw from outside. And not just a one-time, but just the whole aura of Newberry has to be marketed as whatever we decide it is, whatever we create it to be. But that marketing, to me, is critical. Just bringing people.
See, it seems to me we just need more things for them to do when they get here.
Yes.
Like attractions, as opposed to just events.
It's all part and parcel.
Right, no, I completely agree with you, but like if we had, for instance, say, like a city-maintained arcade, so the kids would have a place to go and people who were waiting on an opera house show would have a place to go that was always there and always open, as opposed to one event where you have all these mass people come.
Oh, yeah.
If you had more, or museum exhibit, or even a hybrid.
Exactly.
where
A museum would be fabulous.
right.
A museum,
I mean, and it
so
could even
down
be
the
something like
street.
the grill where there's like commercial space with what the historical exhibit is. Like you could have an arcade where kids could pop quarters in and give the city money all day. And then you could have historical exhibits over the top of the game so they could see the history of it. So we're selling historical Newberry through that. I think that type of thing would bring people down on an everyday basis, not just a one time a month or one time a week basis.
What people would be coming down every day?
Well, I think that would bring, you know, hopefully lots of people.
That's a serious.
Well, what
that's
type
not a
of people?
critical question. It's a serious question
Uh-huh.
because we got to aim our marketing at those people.
Right. Well, I think we have the older market kind of there as far as the Opera House attractions go. You know, I would like to see the kids have something to do downtown myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Establish a new customer base.
Right. You know, and that's the next generation of customers for all of us. You know.
But you want a customer base that has some money that can support the shops we have now as well as the new ones.
That's true.
That was gonna be my question is, what do we do that involves children now? And the reason I'm asking that is because if you give a child a wonderful experience while they're growing up and you repeat that experience, then as they grow older and they have children of their own, they say, oh, we've got the Newberry. That's where we did this and this and this.
Yeah, we
with
can
Mom and
stay
Dad."
here.
We always loved to go that. It was a family event. And you know, Lexington has Fun Fest for the kids. I know at least once a year.
Yeah. But even like a playground that was maintained, you know, where we used to have the public pools.
If you
know.
got kids, you got adults.
Yes.
Right.
We do have
There's
people who are
always adults
spending.
Right.
with
And we
children.
can't afford to lose any more of our young people who are moving away because there's not enough to do.
Yeah.
You are
Right.
True that.
absolutely right.
Well, and plus we lose all of college students' money. It goes all out of town because there's nothing here for them to buy. They have to go to Greenville or Columbia to buy
Absolutely.
clothes and
This is
everything
what we need
else.
to do. We need to identify the target markets that we want, and then it makes it easier to go after them.
Yeah, if you don't mind me chiming in, I agree with you completely. I mean, I think it's got to be very well marketed, and I didn't want to de-emphasize the importance of marketing. I started with that, you know, the need for us to all be working together. The physical environment, though, has to be improved, and I think we do need a more event activity. And one thing, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to have to leave around 10. I've got a meeting scheduled with the county administrator, and the purpose of that meeting is the TIF district will expire with the taxes that are paid this December, and the tax bills are not going to go down. There's been some misinformation out there, and the TIF isn't an additional tax, it's just the taxes are split on two bills. And they're going to go from being split on two bills to going on one bill. And instead of a portion of that going to pay the debt service off on the Opera House, it's going to go out to the school district, the county, and the city for general operations. The county is very receptive, and this started a couple of years ago. I mentioned it to Wayne, and not that it's really all that innovative, but the concept was, can the county, the city, and the school district agree by contract? You know, basically it'd be an intergovernmental agreement. Kind of like Vegas, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Can that incremental, you know, basically the property tax base that grew after the Opera House when the TIF was established, can that money be set aside to be invested back in the downtown? And he's very open to that concept. And what I was thinking, if it was done, is what if an approach was taken like the capital sales tax, where and we got building owner feedback and merchant feedback as stakeholders, but a list of projects was developed. And then, you know, that money, I mean, we know what it is. It's a known quantity of money, and probably to get those two entities buy-in, it would need to be fixed. So as the base grows, probably the money would not grow. It would be at the current level. And then that money would be available to fund those projects, either completely or for projects that involve a lot of money. There'd be a financing plan, and it would be part of it. And an example of that, and we talked a little bit with the new college president, and this has been in a holding pattern because, you know, there's been some, they've been going through a transition, and it's taken a while, you know, when they lost their president. But can a project be undertaken between the city, the college, and, you know, maybe even the community players if they will participate in it, where the Ritz Theater is renovated?